Throughout history, people have made amazing accomplishments that define themselves. Now, it's our turn to tell those accomplishments, to tell his story, her story, their story, and even your story. With Mike Wexler.
Welcome to Your Story with me, Mike Wexler. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys like, subscribe. Oh, I can't do that channel thing, but whatever. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts or any audio platforms, make sure you guys go subscribe as well. Your Story with Mike Wexler. And then today I have a very special guest. This man is a professional wrestler, but not only that, an actor, an extraordinary person with a story that needs to be told. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the man that his name will be said in lights. Snypes.
Snypes. That was like an A+ introduction. What's up?
Well, nothing much. I do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you just came from Resurgence.
Oh yeah, that was fun. It was a hot night. Like, this is the first time that they had fans at the venue, so it was a hot night, and it was big.
Now, so for those who don't know, Snypes is a professional wrestler. So when did that professional wrestling journey start for you?
Wow. I would say 2014. I was just like doing my thing at the gym, working out, and I ran into WWE legend Rikishi and his cousin Reno, Black Pearl. And I was going to walk by there, just me being a fanboy. I walked past them, and I was just like, oh, man, that's Rikishi. And he was just on Raw. I think it was like, it might have been like one of the anniversary shows or something like that. So he was really fresh in my mind, too. And someone once told me in Hollywood, when you meet someone in LA, walk up to them. You never know what doors that may open. So I was about to leave, and I saw him looking at me. I looked at him. It was like love at first sight. So I went up to them, and I was just like, oh. And then he's like, hey, man, are you a professional wrestler? I was like, I'm no professional wrestler, but I know this guy is Rikishi, man. I'm a big fan. And they invited me to the school in Knox Pro. I said, I'm not a wrestler, but I went, and it took me about like a month to actually join the school, because I was just there. I was just like being a fanboy, watching them do flips. Jacob Fatu, Halle Berry. I'm watching all these wrestlers just train, and I was just like, wow. And that was it. And then I signed up one day. I think it was KTLA. They came to the school to check out the school, and I signed up that day.
Wow, I mean, it's awesome to have your very first day too, or especially within the first year that you started training, to have KTLA there, and then not only that, but to be trained by the one and only Rikishi.
Kishi is he's a great guy. I mean, I love just like banter with him. He's funny. He's hilarious. That's what a lot of people may not know about him. Just sitting down with him, he's very very personable. But the person who changed my life when I really was there at Knox Pro was David Heath Gangrel, with the Brood. He was with Edge, Christian, Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy. He's the one that really he built my foundation, I would say, because he was so hard on me, and I actually thought he hated me. And he's the one who coined me the name Snipes. So Snipes was born from David Heath Gangrel.
Oh, wow, I mean, how amazing is that, from a WWE legend known as Gangrel to be Snipes? And you talk about within your promos and all that, what is your name? Like, is there a motivation when it comes to your promos and the consistency of everybody knowing your name?
That actually started as a accident. It was like one of my first or second shows at Knox Pro. I didn't know what to say. I was just like, what's my name? And then people just started saying Snipes. And then Kishi, just him being an entertainer, he said, you need to run with that because you had the fans. They were like chanting your name. So I just ran with it. And then one day, because I was in personal training. I don't do it anymore. But one of my clients, he said, Muhammad Ali used to say that. I said, really? And he's like, yeah. At one of his bouts, he would say, what's my name? He would come out, he would say, I'm Muhammad Ali. And Ernie Tyrell, I believe, when they did an interview just like me and you talking, he would not address them by Muhammad Ali. He would address him by his birth name, or Muhammad Ali said his slave name, Cassius Clay. He would call him Cassius. And it's a great interview because it all starts, they're trying to promote the fight, and then it gets serious. He's like, why won't you address me by my name? And if you, he doesn't know his name. Oh, he has Alzheimer's, this and this and that. But that's not the case. It's like, what's my name? So you know who's beating you in the ring. So you never forget that name, Snypes.
Well, yeah, you have a great thing going for you in the professional wrestling world. But not only that, but also, aside from wrestling, I know you've done a lot of projects when it comes to film and even the acting business as well. So can you talk to us about, like, aside from wrestling, like, how important are those projects for you?
Well, I would say my main goal in LA was to pursue the film, the acting, and everything. And part of the reason why I'm in wrestling, as I stated before, is because I worked in the industry and I worked on the show Black Dynamite, the cartoon. And my mentor at the time, Carl Jones, he's actually wrote for the Boondocks. And he told me he wouldn't be in the position he was in if he didn't speak to Aaron McGruder, the creator of the Boondocks. And that's what led him to become a great writer and be in cartoons. And he's the one who encouraged me to walk up to people and speak to them. So I came here to do one thing, and then I dedicated like all my time to wrestling and acting. So film is everything for me. Like I've worked with big names in wrestling. I worked with big names in the acting film industry. And actually, the wrestling gets me a lot of gigs, and it sparks interest to a lot of people. Like, get this, I was on a set with Halle Berry.
Oh, wow.
Halle Berry, and she was just like, we were just chatting, me and her chatting like this, and she was just like, oh, okay. I was like, is she flirting with me? I don't know. But I was like, yeah, I do professional wrestling. She's like, wow, wrestling? She's like, I know Dwayne. The Rock. I was like, me being a Rock fan, I was like, oh, you know The Rock? Okay, that's cool. And I was just like, so yeah, actually, it sparks a lot of interest for a lot of people. Even Sandy Wexler, it was an Adam Sandler movie a few years ago. I did stunts for Terry Crews, and that's where I met, like, rest in peace, Shad Gasper. Like, me and him, we worked on that movie, and that's where I met Shad, I met Terry Crews. So wrestling has opened a lot of doors. It's good to have that. But yeah, film and wrestling is all I do, but film is definitely something that I'm really passionate about.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you talk about the professional wrestlers that were also in movies, you talk about the Macho Man Randy Savage, you talk about Hulk Hogan, you talk about all these legends that have been in films, of course, John Cena, the 12 rounds and all that. So, like, for you, I mean, I think that it's great that you're interconnecting with both wrestling and acting.
I definitely agree. It's just like wrestling is just, it's a passion I always want to do. There's two things growing up that I thought I would never pursue. One was being an astronaut, and one was being a professional wrestler. I love both of them, and I was just like, I'll never be a professional wrestler, but I wrestled like when I was younger. Wrestled my older sister. Like, we would have all types of tear my mom's house up wrestling. So yeah, I'm glad I'm in the profession. I'm just riding this wave, see how far it can go, and yeah.
Well, it's awesome to see you on that journey. One thing that I did notice too is that you have a lot of inspirations when it comes to your professional wrestling and your acting career. I'm guessing family is obviously that number one inspiration for you.
Yeah, definitely. Every time I go out, it's all about like, oh, I want to impress my mother, my father. Even though my mom or my dad, they don't like wrestling as much as like my aunt. Like, growing up, I used to play the like wrestling games all the time. We have Thanksgiving, Christmas, and I would just be up in the room with my cousins when we played wrestling games. My mom likes wrestling. Her favorite wrestler is actually Macho Man Randy Savage, but she's not a big fan of it. She loves The Rock, but my aunts and my uncle, his favorite is Ric Flair. My aunt favorite Undertaker. My other aunt, she loves me. So she's just like, everything that I post, she'd be like, "Oh, nephew, you're doing this and that." I was like, roll my eyes, like, okay, yeah. But yeah, definitely family is a big support. I mean, I'm actually surprised that my mom, she supports me through this because she always, she just wasn't the biggest fan of wrestling. She loved The Rock. She's not a big fan. She's like, oh, when you're older, you'll probably be into something like, they'll be like rollerblading in the air, playing hockey or something. Like, you're not going to be into wrestling. And till this day, I don't watch it as much, like mainstream wrestling as much since I got into the business. Every now and then I try to catch up on what's new and frequent. So I do that.
I mean, yeah, but you have to be proud of your story too that you've created thus far when it comes to your career.
Definitely. Like, I never thought I would be in the ring with like certain people, and I know a lot of people. They elevate me to become a better wrestler. So that's what I strive for. I like people pushing me, and I like to push other people because anytime I'm in the ring or training with someone and someone's not quite there and I see potential in them, I want them to be that good because I want to have a match with them. So I take my craft very seriously. So everybody that I'm in the ring with, definitely I want to like, I want them to improve and become just as good as I feel like I am.
Oh yeah, you're always proud of what you have accomplished thus far and what you're going to accomplish in the future. Even look at now, you're in Pandemonium Pro Wrestling, you're also doing New Japan Pro Wrestling, and just all these in the Southern California area.
Definitely. New Japan is definitely something I did not see coming. I guess just building those contacts. And the thing about New Japan, I'm not actually wrestling there, but I'm there at ringside and I get to watch a lot of great wrestlers, a lot of great matches, and just seeing like, okay, what's going on here? Like, oh man, I can see myself in the ring with this one, that one. One person I've been watching since I started wrestling was Lio Rush, so it's pretty cool to see him actually work because I would follow him. Because a lot of people, when I first started, they would compare me to him. I was like, Lio Rush, who's this guy? Because before everything, I had the blue hair, and people used to make fun of me. And not many wrestlers had colored hair back then, like and like especially outside the box color hair. And the only other person who had like crazy color hair and who was a black wrestler was Lio Rush. So people would compare me to him, and I was like, oh, he's a little shorter than me, but he's really good. So I would just watch him a lot, and it's cool to see him in person wrestling and doing his thing.
Well, I do want to thank you, Snypes, for coming on to the Your Story podcast. But before we go, my last question being this. Of course, you've accomplished a lot thus far in your career, like I mentioned before, and of course in the future. But for those who are watching that and want to follow your career, can you explain to them, however you want, who is Snypes?
Snypes is that man that everyone wants to be. Like, not so much as physically, but like his determination. Like, oh man, I want to be like that. I want to achieve my goals. I want to get. I want to be the best, and that's who Snypes is. Snypes is that guy who you just want to like be like, or I don't even want to say imitate, but he's the guy. You know, he's the guy that if you are a wrestler or want to be a wrestler, like, man, I want to be just like that guy. I want to be that role model. I want to aspire, just like inspire people. I want to aspire to inspire, you could say. So that's who Snypes is. He's a little cocky, but that cockiness that you love. That's who Snypes is. And when I say what's my name, that's the type of feeling you want to just say Snypes. So when you say, what's my name? I want to bring you in with me. And you be like, I know his name. That's Snypes. What's my name? Snypes. That's who Snypes is.
That is an awesome outro. Thank you so much, Snypes. And for those that want to follow Snypes on Instagram or any social media, where can they find you?
Thing is, I use Instagram the most. I post a lot of memes, funny things, just for giggles and stuff like that. But my Instagram is hyped Snypes, hyped_Snypes. That's HYPED_SNYPES. And Twitter, I'm trying to get into it. It's just hard, but I am on Twitter too. It's Snypes7, and Facebook. My fan page is Snypes7 as well. So that's all my social media, and I try to respond to as many messages as I can. I try to retweet and repost when I can. But that's who Snypes is, and I love all my fans, and that's what I love. Like, keep me going.
Well, thank you, Snypes. And for those who are still watching, make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. Listen on all audio platforms, which you can find anywhere where you can listen to your podcast. And after this, I will see you guys in the next episode of Your Story.
Cut. Good.